You have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, everyone!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe now. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Well, we've done it. We're back for another show, ladies and gentlemen, and I think we got Jay Key here. My partner has something a little special for the end of this episode, so stick with us. I don't know if we want to give it away, what we're going to do. I don't even know what Jay's going to do, to tell you the truth, but there's some things happening at the end of this episode. But
I don't know. Actually, I don't know what. You'll have to message me over here so I know what's going on.
Okay, but first of all, Jay, how you doing?
You know, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Welcome back from the huge, gigantic Dragon Con. It's good to have you back. Glad to see that you made it through. Your 75th Dragon Con in a row?
76.
76.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
Feels like it. Yeah, it's big. It's crazy. Dragon Con's fun. It felt this year like it was back. Like, last year they put a cap on it because of COVID. They said they put a cap on it this year, but I think they were lying. It was very busy. It was very full of people.
What's another 20,000? Who knows, right? You can't tell.
They said 65,000 people, but I think it might have been more. Dragon Con's fun. There's not super kaiju heavy, but I did find somebody in a Mechanicon costume. It was the best thing I saw all weekend. Awesome. A friend of mine, Hal Clay, found him first and showed me a picture of it, and I was like, wow, well, that's cool. And then we caught up with him later on that night, and I chased him down, and I was like, hey, dude, this is literally the best thing I've ever seen. It was awesome. Yep. So if that guy is out there, thank you for doing that.
Maybe he's a listener, and if he's a listener, let us know, because I mean, you could be the mascot for YHS on Monster Island.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Was awesome. When you sent that photo, I was like, well, did you do that? Because I know you guys are, you and the rest of the YHS crew and all of your friends and are really good cosplayers and have really cool costumes. I was like, it wouldn't shock me if you created a Mechanicon. But yeah.
Wasn't me. I didn't see any other. I did see somebody who was like vaguely in a Mothra costume, but I'm not sure if it was supposed to be Mothra or if they just were trying to dress like a moth because people like moths.
Yeah. Silence of the Lamb.
It looked like they had a helmet on that looked very Mothra-ish, but their wings weren't the pattern of Mothra. And I don't know if it was just, I don't know. I was like, it looks like a Mothra kind of. Yeah. I did see a picture of somebody who did like a Godzilla armor kind of thing, and it looked cool, but I didn't see it in person. So I know there were some out there. I know there are some. It's all a lot of Godzilla shirts. So
yeah, good.
I know there's a presence there. But
the franchise is alive and well, man. The franchise is alive and well,
for sure. Well, I guess we could just jump right into. Do we want to? You want to do our news? I know you got some news snippets. Do you want to do that first, or
let's do pickups first? Okay. Because I think the news, we can do that, and it can kind of nicely bleed into the secret topic. The secret topic that we're going to have today, the main event, which you don't know about, but
I know.
So we are going to surprise you, and I'm actually really curious your thoughts on it. So anyway, let's do some pickups, man.
Okay.
What do you got?
I got a few things. Nothing giant or as fanciful as you usually have, but
shut up.
The first thing you know all about because you sent it to me. But this little guy, cool little Godzilla Land display. It's like a little game.
Charmy water. It's Charmy.
Yeah, those little. I added some water to it.
Nice.
Those little games where you press the button and try to get the little guys to land in. It doesn't really work, but it's a cool display piece, and I really appreciate this, Jay.
And I have one of those as well, and it also doesn't work.
Good.
Yours is in much better shape than mine.
Is it?
Mine won't. Mine actually, I don't think will hold any water, but it's great.
You know, I made sure when I put the water in it, that I put it on a surface where if the water, I left it there for a day to make sure it wasn't going to leak out all over the place, just to make sure. But yeah, I love this little box. This is a cool display piece, man.
It is really cool. I love that box. It's fun, and it's a silly little piece. And like, I don't know. I remember we all like, you could get like the little plastic Charmy water things where you'd push the button and try to get the colored balls into the little nooks and crannies of whatever contraption. Those were really cool. But do it with the Godzilla, Godzilla head and the big huge right button looks awesome.
Other thing I picked this up at Dragon Con in the art room. I'll go ahead and say it. Dealer's room at Dragon Con for Kaiju is a no-go. It sucks.
Yeah.
Few small things sprinkled here and there, but nothing special. Nothing you need to like waste your money on. But up on the top floor, the 4th floor, is the art room, and there's a lot of prints up there. And I did pick this up from Jellico, who I see at every convention I've ever been to in my life. They're at Dragon Con every single year. They're at like all the Days of the Dead conventions. They were at Comic Con. They are fucking everywhere. But I bought this. I bought this Kaiju stack.
Oh my Lord, that's amazing.
Now I don't know if I would have put King Kong on the top, but King Kong, Mothra, Godzilla, Rodan, Mechagodzilla, and Hedorah there. And it's just like printed on kind of like a hard card stock, and
looks like it has some thickness to it.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a thickness there, and I'm gonna hang this up somewhere.
That's amazing, dude. And also,
I thought it was very cute.
I love finding like prints and art pieces that are kind of that skinny vertical, because you always have places in your house
exactly
it's always blank, right? And you don't want to put a shelf there because it's not wide enough, and most of your prints and stuff are way too big. That like fits and would just plug one of those gaps very nicely.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, you know what?
Yeah. I have like 19 places that could go, and it would be perfect.
One more thing I picked up, real small thing. I'm actually surprised this showed up. I ordered this while I was at Dragon Con. But Rocom Toys, they do our good friend Death Jaguar.
Yeah.
They also make like little versions of and they released one over the weekend. They released like a cosmic Death Jaguar figure.
Sounds amazing. I did not see this, and I love Rocom.
I picked him up, man. He's like,
oh my gosh,
little 4-inch figure. I've always wanted to get one of these from them. They put them out in different, colors, different variants, but this was like their cosmic version. He's got that kind of clear blue axe.
That's really cool.
And it came with like 4 other I think 3 other heads, but the other heads aren't Death Jaguar heads. They're like they're shaped like they're other robots, and then different attachments. And then since I was buying that, I went ahead just for $5. They had you could buy like a replacement head and axe, so it's just like a little head.
That's amazing.
And then an axe. Like this was just $5 extra to get the other color.
That's awesome.
Switch them out if you want, but yeah.
Do they have now that size? Because I feel like they have a lot of other figures that size that aren't Death Jaguar. Is that like they have like a separate line? Like what's it? Do you remember what it's called? Is it
it's
Maniac?
Like Mighty.
Oh, Mighty. Yeah.
I got it somewhere. Hold on. It's probably in my. Let's see. What do they call it? That just says Death Jaguar. Yeah, it's Mighty Maniacs.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
because they have other ones. Yeah, they have other ones, and the heads are all interchangeable with each other if you want. And they had like one other Death Jaguar still available on their website from a past release, but I just like the way this little cosmic one looked, and I've wanted one of these for a while just to snuggle in with the other ones. Like the body is nothing like the body of it is nothing like the actual. Death Jaguar. Like it doesn't look like it's just the head, pretty much.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like a Battle Beasts or something type body, like a little wider, broad shoulder. Yeah,
exactly.
Very cool, man. I love Rocom. They do cool stuff, and I love that like they do the smaller figures with so much interchangeability, and you can customize it how you want, and that way everybody can buy the same toys, but everybody can have totally different toys because of how they customize it. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, man. I think that's awesome.
And dude, that was like $30 total. You know what I mean? It's like it's cheap. It's so cheap for these little guys. They're cool. So
yeah, very cool. Very, very.
That's
very
it though.
Cool.
That's my pickups, man.
Those are good. Yeah, I didn't get any. I got 4, I think, really cool ones. But they, 3 of them came in like an hour before we started recording. so they're hot off the press. So I just tore them out of the bags and the box in one case. And then the other one came last week and I was really pumped. So the first one I got is from our good buddy, friend of the podcast, and kaiju influencer, the Tokyo Toy Bastard. He was selling some of his older Ultra 7 stuff. And I was able to pick up this Bullmark Dan Moriboshi removable head Ultra 7. So I absolutely love this guy. Put his helmet on here. Look at that. Oh, Ultra 7.
Whoa, dude,
7,
that is amazing.
7. So I love Ultra 7, man. It's one of my favorites. And I love Ultraman 66, of course, but Ultra 7 has a special place in my heart. It's so different, right? Than Ultraman. And I love this piece. I mean, it's just so very vintagey. Like, I mean, I look at it like, it just has those, like the lines and everything just feel very, very vintage. So that was the first thing I got. So thank you, the great Tokyo Toy Bastard, for getting rid of it and reaching out to me and knowing that I would buy it from you. So the other 3, like I said, I just got in today. The first one is something we talk about a lot on here, are X Plus Defa reels. And I look around, and as much as we talk about them, I only have the Serizawa. I've been pretty good. I've held pretty true to, like, I like them. I don't love them. I'm very strategic on what I would potentially get, but I do have 5 on pre-order, or 5 that are coming in. And the first one came in today. And that is this boy right here, the Gigan. Love this guy. Yeah. And this is the Rick. It does light up. I don't have it plugged in. The eye lights up, but this is awesome. So the ones I have coming in are truly, I love my Serizawa, but I just wanted to get a Godzilla versus Megalon battle. I don't know why, but I have him, Megalon, Jet, and the 73 Godzilla who is by all accounts, I mean, it's a terrible sculpt with the giant crazy eyes, but I got it because I wanted to complete that. And I did get the Titanosaurus because it's Titanosaurus. But those 4 coming in. So this is the first in that quartet of the Godzilla versus Megalon that came in. And this is excellent. I think they did a really, really good job on this. I dig it, man. I really do.
It's a cool line, man.
Yeah. And so it's really great. But speaking of Jet, just as the Tokyo Toy Bastard gave me the Dan Moriboshi and kind of influenced me there, another friend of the podcast and contributor to the Show It Down Spectacular, the great Jonathan Portman of Collect All Monsters, I actually was able to acquire this one for him many moons ago. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool piece. But then when I actually was putting it in the mail to send to him, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to own this one day. And I was able to find one, and it's from Marasan, a 450 translucent glitter Jet Jaguar.
Oh my God.
I love it.
I don't even want to look at that. I don't even want to look at that.
Yeah, it's so awesome, dude. Like it looked great in pictures, and like I said, and he was like, dude, I wanted it. This is awesome. I was able to send it to him. But like I said, just that transfer for me putting it in the box, I'm like, yeah, I think I want that one. And I did. So thank you, Jonathan.
That's a must-have.
I will send you the bill. But even like the arms move and everything, it's so great. It's so great. But yeah, look at that. I mean, just the translucent and the glitter. So cool. Yeah. And it's huge. I mean, it's a 450. I mean, it's a big one. So absolutely adore it.
That's maybe the best looking jet I've seen.
It's really cool. It's really
cool. And it's not mine.
Not yet. You'll get one.
Not yet.
And we were the last thing I have, and we were speaking off the air before we started recording, and I said I've had a little bit of a malaise, a little bit of a break from collecting any 89 Marasan 350 Bio Gojis because they just haven't released a lot. And I think now between what's been released over the last few pop-up shops and what's coming on some upcoming pop-up shops for Marasan, there's 12 new ones coming out. So, it'll be a fun journey. I was able to get my first of kind of the next wave of them, and I have 4 or 5 on the way. But only one in my hands right now, and that is this awesome pink and black marble Bio Goji I mean, I think I have like 6 variations of pink something with Byogoji now, but this is one with the red eyes. They also have some with yellow eyes as well. Absolutely love this guy. He's so
They
cool.
should call that the dirty bubble gum variant.
The dirty Pepto-Bismol one.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks like you dropped your bubble gum in the dirt.
I love it. Yeah, no, I think it totally is. It's the before you clean them off. It's a great piece. Like I said, I've shown off 30 of these on here by now. I mean, I love the sculpt, everything about it, but this is a really cool colorway. From the images, I didn't know if I would like it as much. And I will say it does look a lot better in person. The marbling comes across a little bit more than it does in some of the photographs. It looks really cool. So I love this, and I'm excited to get the pink and green marble one, which is the next one that's coming to me. So I don't know what number this is, but all I know is all of my shelves are filled up, and I'm starting to have to go create new shelves under it to fit the new wave of these guys. So only 4 pickups and very different pickups. But I absolutely love them all, and I thought it was pretty successful week. And hopefully next week or in 2 weeks, I'll have some more Byogojis to show off.
Maybe not 12 more.
Off
the bat. But,
but maybe a couple. Maybe 3 or 4.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
All good pickups, dude. I'm itching to buy something else. After I got that Kraken, I haven't bought a big piece since the Kraken. It's all been kind of smaller stuff. But I'm kind of itching to jump on something cool, something substantial.
Have you pre-ordered that Medusa yet? The Star Ace Medusa?
No, because I'm still paying for the Kraken, dude.
That's right.
That's right. I do want the Medusa, but I got a payment. I got a Kraken payment coming out, I think, in the next day or 2. But then I still got another payment after that. They're big payments, man. So I haven't pre-ordered it yet, but.
And don't you have some payments coming up on the Godzilla versus Ebra X Plus? Or is that a payment when it comes in?
Yeah, well, I have a few payments, but I might have paid. I paid I think I paid it mostly off.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I bought,
I think too.
I think I did something crazy and I put I think I might have put how much was that thing total? Like $600 or something?
I don't think it was quite 600. Maybe with shipping and stuff, it might be. I think it was like 450.
I put like 90% down on it.
Oh,
so
wow.
I think it was to make my payments honestly, I think I had a payment go out yesterday and it was like $35. I did not owe much on it.
Good.
But I did that because I was like, I bought that fucking thing the same day I bought that Kraken.
That is a day.
I was like, yeah, I know. But it was like, I had to think about it because I was like, all right, total here, this is ridiculous that I'm doing this. But I was like, I went ahead and put most of the money actually out of my account on the Godzilla. But the Kraken was all that Kraken was shipped to me a month before they took my first payment. Yeah. So I had to figure out how it was going to work, but yeah, I'm good on Godzilla Ebra, but I'm going to have to I need something next. I need to line up something.
Well, hopefully that thing comes in. I got the note, obviously you did too, about it being delayed a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully it's not delayed too much because I'm really waiting for that piece to come in.
It's going to be awesome, dude. I'm still, I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Cool. So, you know what? I guess we're going to go to, we're going to talk about what we watched because we both watched something new. Was this new to you?
It was not, no, but I hadn't seen it in probably about, I don't know. I think probably a year or so. So, I mean, I don't know if I've watched it since we started talking, podcasting. So, but it would have been around that time was the last time I saw it, around when we started. So yeah. And for those that can't guess what we're talking about, because it's an obscure one.
You wouldn't guess it.
You wouldn't guess it. We're talking about a short because we know this is not the main topic. We're not doing a movie review, but but this is, I wanted to see if we could chat about a film that we both watched, and it's the short from 2009, Geharha, the long and dark-haired monster. So, Jake, first, initial thoughts, because this was your first time to see it.
Yeah. Initial thoughts. I loved it. I thought it was great. It was like kind of funny. It had like some funny stuff in it, but it was really well done. I was like kind of confused at why it was just a short, because I was like, whoa. It's like, this is really well done. It didn't seem like, it doesn't feel like fan filmish. It feels like it's got production to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is really well done. The creature's cool looking. Like,
very cool.
Geharha kind of looks like third form Shin Godzilla covered in hair, you know? Like,
yes.
I liked it. And then I really, really loved at the end how it kind of just has a trailer for a sequel that never exists. Yes. I was like, hold up, I want to see this. I had a lot of fun with it. And I immediately looked up. I was like, surely there's no toys of this thing, and there are, and they look awesome. I was like,
the marmot one looks good,
awesome.
In fact, Jake, I think I actually have the image here. Let me see here. Let me see if I have that one. I believe I do. There he is. Here he is. Look at that. There he is, the marmot toy.
This face, man.
I love it. And so this film was done by NHK, which is like, think of it as like, it's the Japanese public broadcasting, right? So it's like PBS is here, and they got what's the name, Kiyotaki Taguchi, that directed a lot of the recent Ultraman stuff, but he's been involved with like everything from like digital effects in Millennium series Godzilla to he was did stuff for Death Kappa. Like, I mean, he's in the kaiju space, and he directed it, and like it was done as this homage to kaiju films of the Showa era. And that's like, you get that. I think like it is a parody, but not like, it's, the goal isn't to be goofy and silly. It's as much like in a way to be like a true comedy. It's more of like, we just want to capture all of the charming, silly, fun things and tropes that make Showa era kaiju films great.
Yes, it's got all the classic tropes, but but it's like lovingly done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And done in 20 minutes. That's the thing that I think is so crazy, is that they were able to basically capture all of those like rapid fire tropes in a 20-minute film. I mean, it is everything. I mean, it started off with a boat being destroyed. I mean, how much more kaiju film can you? I mean, that like the tourists getting eaten, like when they're taking the picture and the monster shows up in the bag. To I mean, the whole just like the over. I mean, there's obviously a journalist that's going to be like the lead, and it's so.
There's the old man in his bed, and he goes to the victim who didn't die in the first. Yeah, dude, it's great, and I. Go ahead.
Say, and the themes, I think, are the tropiest, when it's just like, but the humans are the scariest, and we're not going to stop these monsters until we fix the environment. It's like so great.
Yeah, and then it ends with they kill Geharha. He falls off of a cliff into the water, and then right as you think it's over, the aliens show up, take the body, and they're going to use it against the Earthlings.
In the exact same way in Invasion of Astro Monster, they take
it looks like they literally took that effect.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
The cool thing is like they do this, but to what you mentioned at the very beginning, I think what holds everything together, where like it differs from some of the more parody type films, is the monster. Like you could really put that in a non 20-minute short film, and it's a great monster. I mean, like the hair is a unique touch. And I don't know this because I'm not a yokai expert, and I'm sure somebody can correct me, but I believe there is a monster, or excuse me, a yokai that's similar to like a kappa that like excretes poison from its hair, and they do that in there. Yeah,
they call him something other than a kaiju. I think 2 or 3 points, and I did not recognize the word, but I think. They're calling him some sort of. I was like, oh, is that a yokai thing, or is it something? I didn't know exactly what it was, but they did call him something else a couple times. Yeah, dude.
It's fun. And I mean, of course, the Americans coming in to save the day with the giant fan. The weapon.
Yeah, it was just a fan. That was amazing. I love how silly they made the American, and he's like talking in Japanese, but he's just doing it really weirdly. I laughed out loud at the fan when it shows up. It's just a big fan blowing the smoke away or the gas. Yeah.
No, and
yeah,
people,
dude.
The good news is people do love, like, people like appreciate this, and like, I think it was an homage and a loving parody done well and done in the right way. I mean, I think the effects are very similar to like what I look at like modern Tokusatsu shows. Like if you watch a modern Ultraman or a modern Kamen Rider, like what kind of that same level, which isn't bad. You know, it's just I mean, it's not Toho, but it's not also like, you know, Rega and Raigo or whatever those goddamn monsters are. Anyway, Hayashida. Anyway, but I'm glad you get to see it. I love this one. I think everybody that has any kind of passing casual interest in Godzilla and the Kaiju genre, I think they would get it. They would get what it's trying to do. And it's a fun 20 minutes. You can go, it's on YouTube. You can go and find it on YouTube. Just look for Geharha, the long and dark haired monster, 2009. And it's there and it's awesome. And I don't know. I'm just glad it exists.
Yeah. I'm glad you picked this for us to watch. I'd seen, you know, it wasn't my first time seeing Geharha. I'd seen him around. I was aware of it, but I didn't exactly know what it was or where he came from. But yeah, dude, he looks cool. The short was well done.
Yeah.
I'm happy to. I saw that. I guess you can buy this on Blu-ray. Like it's out.
Oh wow.
There's
amazing.
Versions of it you can buy. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we need that sequel. We need that sequel.
Dude, I want the sequel as a live action. It really made me think about the X from Outer Space Part 2, the Summit. You know, it made me. It had that kind of charm to it.
It did. It was like a less openly silly version of that. And but I mean, there was no headphones, but there was a giant fan. So
right.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's one that I think, like I said, if anybody that really does love kaiju would appreciate it. And like I said, you go watch it on YouTube. It's free, people. It's free. Let us know if we're crazy and we're the only two people that like it. But I absolutely adore it.
There's figures of it. We can't be the only one. But I thought it was insane. I was like, will they just fucking make figures of any kaiju movie? I was like, we need to make a kaiju movie just so we get a fucking figure made, because I was floored that there was actually figures, and there's multiple. It's not just that one.
Yeah, that's the one that I've always seen and I've always wanted.
It's the best looking one for sure. His face looks like a sandworm from Beetlejuice in that toy.
Yeah, and they made figures of Daigo's mom. So, like, I mean, they have to do one of Geharha.
Exactly. That's what I mean. They're just like, fuck it, make it.
But that's it. So I'm glad. So I think every now and then, if we have a short that we, I mean, we've talked about How From Beyond the Fog. We've talked about some other ones on here, but I love it. If there's a short, like, we should, we could do it more. We both kind of watch it without having to make it like the full main topic of the day. So anyway,
good idea. That was great. So I guess we could talk about this last bit of news / special little game you got for us here.
Well, if you don't mind, if you'll indulge me, I do have a few bits. I have a few bits of news, collectibles
you got some
news.
New, okay,
yeah, and nothing major, nothing crazy, nothing crazy. But I know, you co-host one of the most popular toy shows on the internet, and Toy Anxiety. You have a collection of toys, not just kaiju, but across properties that is unparalleled. So I think you might want to just see a couple of these toys, because who knows, you might add them to your collections.
Let's see them.
So there's a few, and like I said, we can go rapid fire. None of these are earth shattering, but I think some of them are pretty damn cool. I think the biggest news was that, we've been keeping up and talking about exclusive releases to a lot of these events in Japan. One of them is Treasure Festa Online, and they've done a ton, especially with Passion Tank and Saru Jirushi. I think those two probably capitalize on TFO the most. Well, Treasure Festa Online 8 is coming out, and so there were a couple Passion Tank exclusives that are freaking amazing. Like, there's 3 of the 4 are just like, holy cow. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on. So I'm going to share some of these real quick. They are, like I said, they're amazing. So I'm going to pull up the first one, which I know you'll like because you are, well, the first two really, because you are a fan of Shin Godzilla and everything about Shin Godzilla. How about this guy right here? Look at that. This is Passion Tank. That is a purple, white, marbled, giant Shin awakened, fourth form with the mouth open, ready to destroy stuff. Passion Tank kills it on Shin, and that's their bread and butter. And I absolutely love this cool kind of marbly look to Shin.
It looks like it's made of porcelain.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. It looks heavy and fragile and beautiful, and I need it.
Don't spend all your money on this one until you see this one right here, because it's a little bit different. But from Passion Tank, same event, Shin, it's fourth form, but it is the one that is not awakened. It's just standing there, mouth closed. Look at that. It's the same concept, that marble, but this is a little bit more of a densely packed marble with red and white. So very cool.
Yeah, these are great. These are both great. I need more Shin in my life.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. But Passion Tank, I think they don't have the market cornered on Shin, but they are definitely, when you think of Shin, you think of Passion Tank. But I have to say, I think the one that stole the show for me is actually their oops, sorry, I was almost to share something else. Was actually their 64. And here is the one. I guess I really think this might have stolen the show for me. And here we go. Look at this. It is first off, their 64 sculpt is beautiful. I mean, and it's this teal blue color with looks like some a little bit of sparkle to it, but not like glitter, but like just some sheen to it. I absolutely think this one is a must-have for me. I hope it becomes realistically available and not spending $600-700 on it, and you can get it for a good price, because I absolutely love this sculpt. It's amazing.
I've seen this going around over the last few days.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Everything you just said about it. This color on this figure looks a lot like the Godzilla video game. The Nintendo video
monsters.
game.
Yeah.
Because I believe this is the Godzilla they used for that game, and that color, it just looks perfect. Yeah, dude. I don't know.
And they did release it. I don't have a photo of it here, but they did release that same 64 sculpt as well in just an unpainted blue. So for those that want to customize it, and Passion Tank and Saru Jirushi, they do that a lot. Or they will release a lot of the unpainted ones for people to get to customize. Because I mean, how cool is it to customize such an awesome sculpt and awesome figure? So there was that. The other bigger news was the Godzilla Store, and I think you probably know what I'm going to show here.
Oh, I know what this is.
Yeah, had a couple cool releases. The first one I'll show you is the latest from the Bandai movie Monsters line. So not what I'm going to show, but this one is really cool as well. So those out there that still collect the Bandai movie Monsters, this is kind of the gold Geharha version here. Yeah, it's kind of a gold and black. Very cool. I think it's awesome. They're doing really cool stuff with this sculpt. They just did a lot of the retro colors. They did the pink and purple. They did the kind of the black and purple. They did some really cool stuff. And so this is kind of a gold, an aged gold here that looks really cool. So very good stuff from our friends over at Bandai. And then I will share what I think you think I'm going to show off. And I think it is pretty badass. And it's something that, let's just say, it was not on my radar for when you talk about the 50th anniversary of Godzilla versus Gigan. There it is. The Gigan apron and oven mitts combo. What say you, Jake? How amazing that this thing is out there?
Toho, you're weird. I love this so much. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I need it. I want this. I will wear this around all the time.
Yeah.
It's silly and it's fun.
And look at this pose. I love the pose the guy, the model is in.
Good. Hey, I'm happy for that guy who got to be this model.
I know. I mean, what a thing to put on your resume. But so that wasn't the only thing weird and wacky that they released. Did you know they released some Shin Godzilla slippers? So they released two versions. I'm going to show you one of the two. I think these are the better of the two. There you go.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at these. Yeah. I mean, these are freaking amazing.
My feet need those.
I know they are awesome. And yeah, absolutely love it. But they also released something that we all could use as well, because we all sleep for the most part. We all sleep. And so we need I know, right? They need a Godzilla tail pillow. So let me show you this thing right here. So if you need a Godzilla tail pillow, there it is. And when I say tail pillow, not a pillow for your tail, a tail-shaped pillow.
That's very weird.
It is so weird. Oh yeah. So you can get some slippers.
That's a weird one.
You can get some slippers. You get an apron and some oven mitts. And you can get a tail pillow. But the last weird thing I have, not from the Godzilla store, but we're talking about Ultra 7, and this is even weirder than the tail pillow. So Ultra 7, I love Dan Moriboshi, and for those that maybe aren't super familiar with Ultra 7, how he changes into Ultra 7 is with the Ultra Eye, and it's basically like a pair of glasses. Think glasses with no like earpiece. They just puts over his eyes, and he turns into Ultra 7. So for those older listeners and older viewers of YHS on Monster Island, if your eyes are going away and you need some readers or some cheaters, you can now get them shaped and looking like the Ultra Eye from Ultra 7. That's cool. Yes. So these are working reading glasses, working readers, working cheaters, whatever term you want to use for them, but done as the Ultra Eye from Ultra 7. So
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Pretty amazing stuff. And once again, just glad this bad boy exists. Yeah. And then, so after the wacky ones, these last two are not wacky. And the first one was a big splurge for me. I pre-ordered it, so I can't show it. It could be 18 years before it shows up. And the other one is something that you have to get. And now that you see the final production image of it, after everything's done, I think you're going to have to get it. So first, the one that I went ahead and purchased, it's my first from Spiral Studios, and it's their.
Oh, you did it!
I did it. Yeah. So I did end up buying this guy.
Which means, didn't they also announce a Baragon?
They did, and that hasn't been up for like pre-order. I know they're trying to rearrange what they focus on to get a lot of stuff out because they have so many of these big intricate pieces coming out. But yeah, I decided to jump on it and to get this Spiral Studio GMK Godzilla.
That's beautiful. How big is this thing?
It's about 2 feet.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's about I think it's 52 centimeters. So what does that net out to? I don't know what that nets out to. I know like 30 centimeters is like 12 inches, so it's a little less than 2 feet.
Do you own anything else by Spiral already?
I don't. Yeah. This is my first one. Yeah. What they did with the Ghidorahs looks so amazing. Like I have nowhere to put that. Like, I mean, this thing is big.
The Ghidorah is out of control.
I mean, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but like, and the price point, and here's the thing, it's ridiculously expensive, but I understand why it costs that much.
Yeah.
Like it does not shock me. It's just, it's a lot. And I don't love necessarily like, if it was a Showa era Ghidorah, we maybe we cleared out some stuff, you know. But it is not. So yeah. So the last thing, and once again, they just released this. I think you might have seen it, maybe not. I don't know, but we've seen it unpainted, unfinished on some of these other news items. But I have to share this with you because I think this looks amazing, and I think you might need to start clearing off some space for this guy right here. It's the Kraken Bust. Look at that. Look how good that looks.
Yeah. That is amazing. How big is this guy?
I actually don't know. Does it say on here?
I think we saw him in the background of a photo.
I mean, it's big.
Yeah. We saw, I don't remember what convention it was, but we saw him in the background of a photo of other toys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. That I might buy that.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. They finally released the final ones, images with the paint job, and I don't know. It it just, I think they painted it beautifully. I think it looks so good. It looks so good. And
Yeah.
the Kraken's always going to look cool. I mean, even the funky, weird, vintage American toy of the Kraken is awesome, and it's weird. But this is so cool.
Dude, those are some great things. That's the one of the best things about kaiju toys is that there's no lack of things coming out basically constantly. Like when we do toy anxiety and we're talking about whether we're talking about Star Wars or Marvel figures or whatever, my attitude with those are like, yeah, well, I'm only buying these Marvel characters or these whatever, and it's like I'm waiting these long gaps in between what I'm buying. Godzilla stuff, kaiju stuff, daily. It's like daily. There's too much. There's too many things out there at all times.
At all times. I mean, when you have
I love it.
100 different people with the licenses that can do this, it's crazy. And I think it's a perfect segue because I think one of the big reasons that we see a lot more here as well now is obviously the success of the monsterverse and legendary story, whether we can argue the credibility of the films and whether we like them and where they fit kind of in the pantheon of Godzilla movies. But the success has been undeniable. And the fact that we're getting, like we talked about last week, our last show, you can walk into a Target now and see a Godzilla terrestris, I know that's a singular point, but like if the overall interest wasn't there for the American audience, then, I don't know if we get a lot of these. So, some companies have this market now in the US that's bigger than it was before legendary Godzillas came out, which is great. Whether, like I said, we can love what those movies generate from a interest in the overall kaiju genre and how much more merchandise without us saying that these are our favorite movies. Like, we don't have to, they can be totally exclusive of each other. So, but I bring that up because the big news since the last time we spoke in actual non-toy news was we got the little synopsis that confirmed Godzilla versus Kong 2 is going to be Godzilla and Kong are going to have Godzilla and Kong in it. It's not going to be the Son of Kong, which we kind of thought, at least I thought that one, which was an early rumor, was going to hold true and they were going to focus on Godzilla.
I was kind of hoping it was.
Yeah, me too. But it appears that Godzilla is going to be in it. So before we get into the secret game, and the only thing that you know about it is it has to do something with the MonsterVerse, I just want to get your overall thoughts on when you heard that news. Like, do you have any concerns over it? Like, what's your overall feeling after you heard that news?
Well, first of all, I think this news broke literally the day after we recorded.
I think it was.
We were talking about it, and I want to read the synopsis.
Yeah, thank you.
I was just pulling it up. So this is the official. This is what's out there. The latest entry follows up the explosive showdown of Godzilla vs. Kong with an all-new cinematic adventure pitting the almighty Kong and the fearsome Godzilla against a colossal, undiscovered threat hidden within our world, challenging their very existence and our own. The epic new film will delve further into the histories of these titans, their origins, and the mysteries of Skull Island and beyond, while uncovering the mythic battle that helped forge these extraordinary beings and tied them to humankind forever.
Yes.
That sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy. So, were you happy, sad, intrigued by that when you heard it or when you read it?
A couple mixed emotions. Part of me was, I was sort of hoping for a just Kong film, straightforward. Yeah. I was like, maybe it will kind of go back to the feelings that Kong Skull Island did, because I like that movie a lot. I think Godzilla vs. Kong was fun, but I kind of wish it was like, okay, we did it with that director, now let's go somewhere else and do a different kind of feel. But it's going to be the same director, and I think it's going to be just as big and hokey and silly. And I'd rather head back towards serious.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem like we're going to get that, but also knowing that we're just going to get a straight up Kong Godzilla buddy film.
Yeah,
which doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. We've never had that before.
Yeah,
I'm into that. Like, I'm. That sounds fun to me.
Yeah, I think like my first thoughts were very similar to yours. I had a little bit of a I think my negative feeling was like, it feels more like DC movie spacing than Marvel. It's like they just are jumping to these big moments, right? And it's like Godzilla versus Kong. I too wish they would have slowed it back down and gone more kind of smaller, like done a Kong Hollow Earth film or whatever before you build up to these giant things. Because look, we got to see Godzilla and Kong battle a Mecha Godzilla powered by the brain of King Ghidorah. How do you get bigger than that? Like, how do you follow that up immediately, right? So that was my biggest, like, I'm a little concerned, like, are they just trying to, how out there is it going to get, right? But then I was like, we also are getting a Kong and Godzilla team up every day. So it's like, yeah, this could be amazing.
Right. You can't complain about it. It does feel like, I get what you're saying. It would make sense to be like, they teased us with Hollow Earth and showed us that it's a whole other world and there's other creatures down there. And that movie ends with Kong living there.
Yeah.
Why would that not be? And I mean, I guess this movie could still take place on
100%.
the Hollow Earth, sure, but you would think they would do a movie just exploring that instead of just jumping. But I mean, it does say, did it not say like something, when they say a colossal undiscovered threat hidden within our world sounds like whatever kaiju they're fighting is, maybe it is in the hidden earth, maybe it is buried somewhere in the Hollow Earth or something. I don't know.
Well, Jake, I'm glad you mentioned that because all that's important.
Okay.
So take note of all those key points in that blurb because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess take a step back. There's Godzilla and Kong, but the other part is they have to fight something, right? They have to fight. They have to have an antagonist that is worthy of a follow-up to Godzilla versus Kong. That's not an easy task. And there are a lot of options that may or may not fit. And there are a lot of options that may be totally out there or things we aren't thinking of. But what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to run down a list. I think I have 10 or so different options to be that main villain, if you will, that main combatant with Kong and Godzilla that could be worthy enough to fight the two greatest monsters in cinematic history. And I want to get your thoughts. Now, at the end of it, I want you to and try not to reveal during it, but I want you to reveal of all of these, like, which do you think is the most likely to happen? Which is the one that you want to happen? And then which one do you think will happen? And that one, of course, could be somebody I'm not even thinking about. But I'm just curious of this group of these kaiju that I'm going to talk about. And I will give you little reasons why I think would happen. I'm not just picking random kaiju. I'm not just saying Titanosaurus because I like Titanosaurus. All of these, I will do my best to try to connect to the greater monsterverse storyline or give a little bit of how they could connect it without getting too wacky and fantasy booking it. So I'm going to go one by one and I want to hear your thoughts and your take on it. Okay. Like it. It's like, no, because of this, or yes, that would be amazing because of this. So
I'm excited.
I group these in buckets. So I technically have 12. Group one, I would call, there's 2 in group 1. And I'm going to start with these that I call are what I think are the most realistic, most likely. Okay. So, and then I have group 2, which I think are probably the next step down. Group 3, which I think are another step down. And then I have 2 that are Hail Marys that would be what, but in theory, I guess technically they could happen, but it would be like game changer. So weird and obscure. But I think that there could be something there. So I'm going to start with what I think is the most realistic and then go to the craziest, because I think that's where it gets really fun. So I think the 2 that are most likely to be the villains, number 1 is Destroya. Now you say, how is it Destroya? Like, because let's focus on the key points. An undiscovered threat hidden in our world. We're going to talk about the origins of Godzilla and Kong, mysteries of Skull Island, uncovering a mythic battle that helped forge these extraordinary beings and tied them to humankind forever. So we don't know anything about kind of the back half of the synopsis, if it ties to the monsters or just the plot of the film, right? The film's going to delve into the histories of the Titans. That doesn't mean the histories of the Titans necessarily have to interact with this kaiju. The only thing that I could really pull out of there that I think was 100% tied to the antagonist is what you mentioned. The colossal undiscovered threat hidden within our world. Mm-hmm. So all of these, I think I have to at least address that. So number one, I think it's Destroyer. Ooh. So here's why. The Oxygen Destroyer, the Oxygen Destroyer was already used in the Monsterverse. We know it was used to attack Godzilla and Ghidorah, and it hit Godzilla and injured him before, when he fell down into the underwater city. And there, since that moment in 2019, the Oxygen Destroyer and Godzilla cells have had a chance to create the small microscopic destroyers that eventually lead to Destroyer in 95 version. They're in our world. They're hidden. They form a very colossal threat. The Oxygen Destroyer is present. Destroyer is a super boss when it comes to kaiju. I mean, he would, popularity-wise, he wouldn't rank with Kong and Mechagodzilla and Godzilla and Mothra and stuff. But his impact within the Godzilla series, his being able to realistically battle Godzilla and Kong, I think is there. So what say you about if Destroyer, a new version of Destroyer, was the main antagonist in this film?
I would be into that. That's not where my mind went right away. Mm-hmm. I think Destroyer is a little inside baseball for regular American audiences, and I think most of them would not know. I think most people know Mothra and King Ghidorah to some sort of are familiar with that.
Totally fair.
I think if you pick Destroyer, they'd be like, I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? But I completely agree with all your points. But I don't think it's going to be Destroyer.
All right. So the next one is a little harder to talk about, but I do think this is the other one that is the most likely to happen. And that is simply a totally new Monsterverse specific kaiju that we have not seen. It's not one of the ones that we've already heard of or seen, written on a screen or whatever. Is a totally new custom. I'm talking toys on custom. It's a custom release, event exclusive. No, it is a new legendary kaiju that is being created by the minds of the people that are putting this movie together as we speak, that has no ties to anything from Toho. What do you think about that?
I think that is very, very likely. Mm-hmm. I would hate it because at this point they've started I'm fine if they're using all new kaiju at first. They started using all new kaiju. The Muto were completely made up. No. But once you start using Godzilla kaiju, once Godzilla King of the Monsters came out and they brought in Rodan and King Ghidorah and Mothra, you can't go back. You can't show me those three and then show me Mechagodzilla and have Kong. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
And then say, now the big threat is someone you don't know.
You don't know. Yep.
Get the fuck out of my face. It doesn't work. It's like playing Super Godzilla. Even when I was playing Super Godzilla and you're fighting all these Godzilla monsters and you get that weird fucking thing at the end that's made up for the game, that's bullshit. Get that out of my face.
I love it. So those who I think actually, and I actually put percentages by them, and just so you know, like my group 1 and then group 2, which we're about to get into, are like only a few percentage points away. So these are all I think pretty evenly spaced out. Okay, so into my
the one that I do think is the most likely that I'm not going to say yet is not in your group 1.
Okay, so my group 2. Okay, and once again, these are in no particular order within the groups. They're all kind of the same. Mm-hmm. So one of the news articles in one of the credit scenes for King of the Monsters talked about Monarch experimenting with and making organic titans. And this is a titan that is organic that would be hidden in our world because it's a thing that lives here, plants. And I believe you could make a very compelling case for a monster that could battle Kong and Godzilla because it's so unique, it's so big, and it could even be bigger because it can be as many plants as we need it to be. It doesn't have to be a rose. It could be a giant jungle turned kaiju, an updated version of Biollante.
Yeah. I mean, if I was calling the shots, this would be the answer. This would be like, this would be what I want. I would be the most excited about this.
Yeah.
I think it's 0% chance. Likelihood of happening.
I have it over 0. I think I have it at 9. But it's really good. I think Biollante would make a lot of sense, and I think you could change her enough to where it's realistic that this battle, because it could be growing both into Hollow Earth and on the surface, and that's how you could tie the two together.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of simple ways that you could make it work. And Biollante's awesome, and she needs to be in more than one movie. I mean, come on.
She deserves it.
Yeah. So the next one would be, with the recent success, and I say recent, the last 10 years, of things like Shin Godzilla, Godzilla Ultima, Godzilla the Ride. We've seen new variations of Godzilla, like new takes on it. And of course, even within like Shin, the different forms, even with Ultima, the different forms. Could the villain be? It's hidden in our world. And then once again, could it be one that was hidden in the underwater city? Could it be one that was hidden in Hollow Earth? Because we know the battles took place in Hollow Earth between Godzilla and Kong. And we know that the Godzilla species and family maybe it had some even higher level of beast that was in that battle, and we could learn about the mysteries. And this ties in both parts of the synopsis. It's hidden in our world, it's undiscovered, but it also ties in the mysteries of Skull Island and the histories of the Titans and all the origins. Some new form, some new version of Godzilla.
I didn't think about that. Having a new form of Godzilla sounds very interesting to me. I could be open to that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Oh, and I even forgot Godzilla Earth from the anime trilogy. That's another
right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I would put that on my scale of the likelihood of events. But
Toho might have some issue with that.
Right, but I could be into. I've always liked that trope of like it's a clone or it's another Godzilla or something like that, you know. But the last movie, the villain was a form of Godzilla.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they would want to do that.
That's a good point.
But maybe.
Yeah. So speaking of other forms of Godzilla, this one is a little bit of a cheat. I said there was 12. There's technically 13. I lumped these two together because they're the monster, they're the vessel to fight, but they're not the threat. So what I mean by that is we hear the colossal undiscovered threat within our world. Maybe the monster isn't the threat. Maybe the aliens that have been living in our world disguised as humans are the actual threat, because we know aliens exist, or we know space monsters exist because Ghidorah's from outer space. So they don't have to create something new to create that. Maybe what's happened with Mechagodzilla, Godzilla Kong, that from that final battle, there's a reason that these aliens that are disguised as humans, this ultimate threat, this colossal threat, are moving into action, and they use either a updated version of Mecha King Ghidorah, because we know we have the technology in Ghidorah, but we would be using Ghidorah again. So is that too much? Or once again, I'm bundling these together because they're the vessel. Or Space Godzilla. Could Space Godzilla or Mecha King Ghidorah, a space monster, even though it's not the threat that's hidden, the threat that is the aliens, could they bring in or resurrect something that's dead on Earth, or bring in their monster, Space Godzilla, to battle these evil or these great two titans?
Yeah. I can't talk about these without revealing what I ultimately think is going to be in the movie.
Okay, we'll go on to that.
Let's come back to that one because there's some interesting things in there. Well, let's save that one for towards the end.
Okay, so this next one in the group 2, which I debated putting this between group 2 and group 3, but I just feel we're hearing a lot about this lately, and I even think like, I don't know if it was Adam Wingard or one of them like had the toy or something. I forget. Like he posted on in Twitter a long time ago. I can't remember. But we have Kong and Godzilla. They beat a combo of Mecha Godzilla and King Ghidorah. What if we finally get to see the infamous, unlicensed Kongzilla come into creation in cinematic form? Now, it was created by Randy Bowens and Arthur Adams. It was the statue, but like the history behind that one was it was created from after the battle in 1962 between Kong and Godzilla. Could this be created post the battle between Kong and Godzilla in 2021? Now, how it goes from that to Kongzilla in a short period of time, that's going to take some story. And I don't know if I would call that like hidden within our own world because it just happened. I think it would be tough, but you could definitely tie either in as that or go the opposite. And Kong and Godzilla actually were the offspring from a cell split from the original Kongzilla, which is still.
I'd hate that.
Like they almost were like offshoots. I'm going like Greek mythology, like Greek mythology.
I would.
Yeah.
I would hate that so much to find out that Godzilla and Kong are the same being. Get that out of here. So a Kongzilla sounds like the kind of dumb Americanized bullshit that we would come up with and put in a movie, but it also but even in a series like this, it seems too far-fetched to be able to like, where did that come from? Yeah, it seems too unbelievable. Yeah. So
like I said,
I hope not.
The reason I put that together is the reason I put it in this list is I feel that, like I said, we've just been seeing and hearing more nuggets in kind of just the casual conversation about kaiju of Kongzilla, and it is something that is so dumb that it might happen. So there's that. So the
if the Rock was in the movie, then I would say
yes. Rampage 2. So the next group, I think we're gonna have some fun with. Well, a couple of them we're gonna have some fun with because these are. They don't carry the weight, but it might make sense from a story perspective. And of course, these could just be bulked up versions of these. So the first one I would say is the least exciting because it's more like kind of like the new legendary kaiju or the new version of Godzilla. It's a little bit of a cop out. Could it be an existing Titan that has been mentioned like on one of the screens? I think of like Mokele Mimbe or Quetzalcoatl or whatever. Like, could it be one of those existing kaiju that like a version of that is like hidden, like it's missing, like it wouldn't be hidden in the traditional sense because they had found it, they had captured or whatever. Like, could it be an existing Titan that we've heard about in any of these movies, any of the comics, any of that stuff that they just then bulk up and make into a bigger threat?
Yeah, I guess it could be, but that just seems like the laziest thing possible.
Yes, it's very lazy. Most of these have been betas.
That seems like the worst idea on the list.
Okay, so the next three I absolutely love. These are my three favorite, and unfortunately, I don't think they'll happen, but they could, and I'll make the case. Number one, I know the movie comes out in 2024 in March. But obviously, a lot of the pub and marketing will happen in 2023, which we know is the 50th anniversary of Megalon. Now, how does that work? So we do know that Godzilla was in an underwater city when he was nuked to get him re-energized in 2019 to battle King Ghidorah. That could have woken the ancient guardian that was protecting that underwater city of Seatopia. And awaken him, and he would rise up, and he would be a badass, awesome guy to take on Godzilla and Kong, and that is an updated version of the Seatopian Guardian, Megalon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very easily doable. That's a very, very easy way to get him into the series. It makes complete sense with the character. I don't think Megalon is the one they're going to be shooting for. but I would love it. That would be my second. If they told me no on Biollante, I'd say, okay, what about Megalon then? I do think they can make it awesome, and I think they could bring. I know you're going to say Gigan next. I know they could. You weren't. No. I would. They could even also bring Gigan in and let it be a 2-on-2 and be real classic Showa if they wanted to. I would love that. Yeah, I would really, really love that. I'm not sure how likely. I wouldn't put that at 0. No, but I have it at
5%.
Yeah, sure.
So I put it kind of these other ones. The next one is like Megalon is to you. This one is to me, and that of course is Anguirus. Now, Anguirus, the story also very easy to do. Now I'm going to put a caveat on this. It's not going to be just Anguirus that you saw.
It's Trendmaster's Anguirus, right?
Yeah, almost. That would work, actually. Obviously, we saw the skeleton in the underwater city. What if we get the nuke? What if that nuke irradiated a living member of this species that was still down there in Hollow Earth or whatever, and basically just makes it this Trendmaster's level Anguirus? And we know Anguirus has the weight of being Godzilla's first real enemy. And if you somehow build that history of maybe that was a third species in this epic battle between the Kongs and the Godzillas way back in Hollow Earth, could we see an irradiated Trendmaster's Anguirus? Because we have the skeletons it's in canon. We have the underwater city. We have the nuke. It opens the gate for one of these giant Anguirus on steroids to come in there and wreck some shit up and challenge Kong and Godzilla.
No, dude, I'm sorry. Sure, it's possible, and they couldn't. Your case makes complete sense, but I think for Anguirus to be a big enough baddie to go against Godzilla and Kong and be scary, his design, his redesign would be so radical that you would hate it. It would not look. You know what I mean? Like for you to believe. Even more so, like for you to believe that this one creature is a big enough threat to go against Godzilla and Kong after they've already fought Mechagodzilla, King Ghidorah, like he would have to be insane.
Shin Anguirus.
If that were the case, I would give him higher. But as we're standing, I don't think that's going to happen.
Mecha Shin Anguirus.
Yeah.
0. Okay, so the last of this kind of like long shot group before we get to the Hail Marys is, I think, would be maybe one of the best stories. So you have Alan Jonah, who's an eco-terrorist. He tried to unleash the Titans to start the Earth over again and get rid of the humans that are awful. He bought King Ghidorah's head to try. I mean, he's a bad dude, and he'll do anything in the name of the environment. Could he go a different direction and try again, because he's still alive, by creating a monster, maybe through some materials from space that he found, some living organism that is powered by pollution? So by generating the pollution, by generating the bad stuff of the environment, humans are in fact killing themselves because they unleash an updated version of Hedorah the smog monster, who then, as we know, could be an army of Hedorahs. We could do so many different things and could challenge both Godzilla and Kong at the same time or separately in two different places, because it could split. It could be lots of different things, like that original. I'm thinking of the original Godzilla versus Hedorah 2 script where they go to like the planet of Hedorahs.
Yeah,
I think it would be an amazing story, and it would be very, very cool.
Yeah, I think it's too cool, and that's why it won't happen. I think that's a very interesting plot line. I think it's really inventive, and it would be really great to bring that character back, have him kind of turn his cause against the world for doing, like, that makes so much sense. It would be so cool. I think a legendary Hedorah would be awesome, but I think for all those reasons, it won't happen, because we're not smart enough to do that. We're gonna do something dumb, probably.
Okay. Well, we're about to get
like
dumb.
that. That's a good.
We're about to get real dumb, because so to recap, like, here's like kind of, I view these as kind of the options that I put together, not that I could realistically tie in. Destroya, a new legendary kaiju, Kongzilla, Biollante, Space Godzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah, where the real bad guy are aliens that are hidden on Earth, a new version of Godzilla, Megalon, Hedorah, Anguirus, maybe some version of an existing Titan that we kind of know about. So those are kind of ones that I think like all of these have more than at least 1% chance of happening in my rankings. Both of these have less than 1% chance, but they are amazing and they are so stupid. They will be awesome. So, and I'll do my best to tie it in. This one could have come to Earth many eons ago, unrelated to anything having to do with Hollow Earth or whatever. Like it could just been hidden there and we awoken it because of something, right? Maybe trying to find another opening to Hollow Earth and we awoke it. But we know Legendary had the big split recently and they're bidding out their services to a lot of studios. What if Paramount gets it? And we have maybe a big American kaiju, not that can rival Kong on popularity, but would be another property we could just kind of meld into this world. What if we had Godzilla and Kong versus Clover? The Cloverfield monster enters in the picture and we have it because Legendary and Paramount wins the bidding and gets the partner with Legendary. And they said, hey, here's how you do it. You put Cloverfield monster in with Godzilla and Kong and we will sign the dotted line tomorrow.
The funniest thing about that would be like, after the first Clover, when Cloverfield came out, it was all shrouded in secrecy. Everything about it was like mysteries. And then the other two Cloverfield movies were the same way. And the third Cloverfield movie, when it came out, it was a surprise. Mm-hmm. It was literally, it happened during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And during the Super Bowl, they said, hey, here's a commercial for a movie that's going to drop in an hour.
Yeah.
The logical, place to take that is, hey, your new Godzilla movie is a secret Cloverfield movie. That would be awesome, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Cloverfield, I think Clover just kind of lives in a completely different place, and I think he's as cool as Clover was, and I know they said that creature was an infant. Mm-hmm. In that first Cloverfield movie, he still doesn't seem that he would be able to hold his own against Godzilla and Kong.
Once again, there have to be some adjustments made, but I love that because Paramount was the one working. Like their name popped up as like
it would be cool. I mean, I would watch it.
And so when I saw it, I didn't think about it until I saw the article about Paramount and Legendary potentially working together, and I was like, oh my gosh. The other one is the most far-fetched, but it also would be the biggest of all. You could add all of these together and it wouldn't be as big as this.
Okay.
What if we finally get because it wouldn't be directly one-on-one. It was hidden in the earth, in the Arctic. We know they like snow in Legendary movies. We saw the first battle in Godzilla and King Ghidorah. What if out of the Arctic again busts out the only other monster that probably ranks up there with Godzilla and Kong in pop culture? And what if it was Godzilla and Kong against Gamera? What if it happened?
Jesus Christ.
It is Legendary that finally bridges the gap and puts the two most iconic Japanese monsters in a film together with Kong as this kind of intermediary. I have it at a 0.001% chance.
Yeah.
So 1/100th of a percent. But if it happened, it would change the kaiju landscape.
It would be insane. But there's one like fatal flaw to that happening, other than the fact that it's Godzilla versus Gamera, is that it would suffer from the exact same problem that Godzilla versus Kong suffered from. Mm-hmm. There would have to be another villain because
three villains.
Because Gamera's a good guy, Godzilla's a good guy in this continuity, and it would have to end the same way Godzilla versus Kong did, with all three of them being the best friends possible, which I would like to see.
Oh yeah,
but that's not going to happen ever.
So those are the choices that I put together: Destroya, new legendary kaiju, Kongzilla, Biollante, Space Godzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah, new version of Godzilla, Megalon, Hedorah, Anguirus, existing Titan, Cloverfield, and Gamera. So of all of those, regardless of the percentages, like ignore the percentages, like this, nothing to do with likelihood. If you were just making the movie, and you kind of already mentioned this, but just to confirm, who would you in a perfect world, like to see battle Kong and Godzilla?
Oh, I want Biollante.
Okay.
I think it would be. I think Biollante could be cool, and just like you were saying, Biollante is a plant, so it could be everywhere all at once. You know, it could be. You know, they could both be fighting separate Biollantes that are still the same bio. Yeah, it could make sense. I love Biollante,
and it could be awesome. So
yeah,
whether it's on my list or not, right? Like ignore, like it doesn't have to be on there.
Yeah.
Who do you actually think? If you had to predict right now, and things could change as things leak out, but like as of today, who do you think it will be that has to battle Godzilla and Kong?
So going back to the two we skipped.
Oh, Space Godzilla and Mecha King Ghidorah.
It's not Mecha King Ghidorah. Yeah. They've already done a Mecha
Too
and
much.
King Ghidorah.
Yeah, now put them together. Finish it out, Jake. Finish it out.
I think it's going to be Space Godzilla. I think it's going to be Space Godzilla. And the reason I think that is because Space Godzilla was teased like in the art book for Godzilla versus Kong. There's art of, or was it in the movie? I can't remember. I think maybe it's in the art book. But there is official imagery out there of Kongs and Godzillas battling what looks to be like a Space Godzilla on like in cave paintings. So that's they've already thought about it, and I think they could easily, if we're gonna go back to the origin of the Godzillas, the whole Godzilla race could easily have come from Space Godzilla,
of course, yeah.
Who visited? Maybe Space Godzilla visited in the past. The Godzillas and Kongs fought the Space Godzilla. Somehow, Space Godzilla is in some sort of suspended animation in the middle of the earth or something, and we wake him up. This movie is so then you learn about how Godzilla came from Space Godzilla or something like that. I do think it's a little out of left field for American audiences to have a Space Godzilla, but they've teased space a couple times.
Yeah.
We know space monsters exist. Space Godzilla seems like a big deal. It seems like one of those Destroyer type threats. I think they can make him look crazy. Like a legendary Space Godzilla might look insane. To me, that's kind of where my brain's at. Other than making up a brand new monster, I would put Space Godzilla in high likelihood for this film.
I dig it. No, I think so too. I think the only difference we had was, I probably threw in like the presence of aliens, like people being part of it, but like I could totally see it being Space Godzilla. Because to me, I was trying to think of like how they mentioned like how they tie into humankind and stuff, and I thought like you could bring in humanoid aliens to somehow tie that in like history and how the Earth was populated and things like that. I don't know. I think there's some good, cool stuff with it, and I do think that that is a very strong one. I put it in that second group for me just because my gut still says Destroyer, but I would love a Space Godzilla.
Yeah, I would be good with either one of those. The whole
and Biollante, that also would be good too.
I'd love Biollante, but I just feel like Space Godzilla could explain away so much of the history with Space Godzilla. They could be 100%. Like, okay, so maybe Kong and some of those other creatures already lived on the Earth. Space Godzilla comes, he's fucking shit up. Somehow, Space Godzilla's presence creates the other Godzillas. That's why the Kongs don't like Godzillas, because they think they're all like Space Godzilla. 100%. Yeah, I just think it's a way to wrap everything up kind of in a bow.
Yeah, and I think the reason that Space Godzilla, it's really honestly probably the only one of, not counting like a new version of Godzilla, which could be whatever, but it's the only one that really satisfies both halves of the synopsis. It could be hidden in our world, like you said. Yeah. They defeated him and put him in the center of the earth or wherever, and it could also help the second part of the synopsis, which is all about delving further into the histories, the connectivity, of Skull. Maybe he's buried in Skull Island, Maybe he is Skull Island. I don't know. The Mysteries of Skull Island. That Bylante always pops in my head. Like, what if Bylante is like, you could turn Skull Island into a living beast. Anyway, but I think Space Godzilla uniquely satisfies both. I think like Destroya absolutely could do hidden in this world. Absolutely could mesh with the storyline that we've seen in the previous movies, but it wouldn't help anything on further the histories, right? Because it's all after the battle or after 2019. Right. So that's why I think Space Godzilla is a very good choice, because it could satisfy very easily.
Now,
the synopsis.
I know we both just made that up. There's no actual evidence out there, but if they went that way with it, I don't know how I would feel about Space Godzilla creating Godzilla as opposed to in the original where Godzilla
It'd be
I mean, that seems like something they would do, but it does feel weird to me to take Godzilla's origins away from planet Earth and say like, oh, well, Godzilla's technically a space monster.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much I would like that. But it's something I would get over. Who cares? Really? Yeah. But yeah, it would be something different, and I think it makes sense. So,
and if you allow aliens to be in there, you don't have to take it away, because it could still be the same thing where aliens took a Godzilla and made him into Space Godzilla and came back. Like we go further back. And,
make it even weirder.
Yes, I like it weird. But so I hope you enjoyed it. I think it was fun to guess what's coming out of.
Dude, I love games. Yeah,
and it is crazy that we're going to get another Godzilla and Kong together movie in 2024.
Dude, I'm excited. 2024, we got new Lord of the Rings is happening. Star Wars is still happening. Marvel is still happening. And Godzilla is still happening. We're going to get X-Men and a new Godzilla movie like at the same time, probably.
And maybe another season of Singular Point. That's what I'm hoping for too.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't heard any news on that. I feel like things move pretty quick over there in Japan, as far as like, we heard about Shin Ultraman, forgot about it, and then in 6 months it was just out.
Yeah.
And I think, I might be mistaken, but I think did they release dates that it's going to be out over here?
I don't know if it's in North America. I know they did the Malaysian dates and some other ones recently, but I don't know. If it is, it's hot off the press. I didn't see it.
Yeah,
but that does not mean it is not out there.
But I don't know. Just usually things seem to move pretty quickly from when you hear about it. So the fact that it's been a while, Singular Point, that's been a while now.
For sure.
I would have expected something by now. So that worries me a little bit.
If it doesn't, it's going to be one of the biggest teases of all time. That even more than Geharha, the long and dark-haired monster tease. If it doesn't happen after that big reveal at the end of the series, I mean, that's like Buckaroo Banzai against the World Crime League level of like not ever happening after they teased it. So I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, me too. Well, sorry to end the show on kind of a down note there. I would love to know, anybody who's listening, what you guys either shoot us a message or leave a comment on the YouTube page. Let us know who you think is going to be the villain and who you would want the villain to be, because I want to hear other opinions.
Yeah. And you can say Geharha, the long and dark-haired monster, too, on that answer as well. So that's good.
I hope it's Gilala.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yes. And he would easily destroy them. They both, quick movie, man. Gilala just destroy both Godzilla and Kong and be like,
come right out with a rocket to the butt. Jay, you got anything else?
You got that. No.
All right. I guess we are done. Guys, thanks for watching and for listening, and we'll be back maybe in like 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.